Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Today is September 30th. We are almost out of October, and I am here to provide you with our weekly Compton update. I am your mayor, Asia Brown, and I will get right into our agenda. Please forgive me for the tardiness. We have been working nonstop, and time has escaped. But I am here to give you all to give you all the weekly updates for this week. Today's agenda includes coronavirus data, relief efforts and testing updates, census information, voting. We will go over the latest in Compton Street reconstruction projects, as well as I'll take live questions and discussion, and we will go from there. This week we do not have a council meeting recap because we did not have a council meeting this past Tuesday. We only have council meetings 4 Tuesdays per month per our city's charter. So I'll get right into it right away. As of Monday, the latest COVID-19 stats are as follows. There are 269,284 confirmed cases in LA County. There have been 6,551 fatalities. In Compton, our total COVID-19 case count is 4,075 confirmed coronavirus cases in Compton, and we have had 71 reported fatalities relative to COVID-19. So as usual, we are asking people to please observe the latest in the CDC guidelines and recommendations. We are still wearing our masks. We are still observing social distancing. As of today, the county did open playgrounds for use throughout the county of Los Angeles, and so the city will follow suit. We will also share additional information as those details are released. Also, relating to relief efforts, we still have a free testing facility operating in the city of Compton at Gonzalez Park, Sunday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's a very easy process. They do not ask for your insurance information. Results are typically reported within 48 hours and oftentimes much sooner. My husband just got tested and he received his results 12 hours later. So please access this free resource. We worked really hard to partner with the county and the state to offer this vital health resource to the Compton community. As you all know, I just mentioned we have 4,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases in Compton, and so it's very critical that we do our part to get tested so that we could access medical care and or ensure that we are sheltering in place and ensuring that we're quarantining properly as well. Also, if you are in need of additional information, I recommend you access our COVID-19 guide, and that is available at the City of Compton's website at comptoncity.org/covid19.asb. We still have weekly food pantries operating within the City of Compton. There are various events planned throughout the month for additional distribution of food and PPE, so please access these vital resources offered by our community. Relative to the census, I don't know how many people are following or have followed the battle between the census deadline, but as of today, actually as of yesterday, the Census Bureau released the new deadline applicable to a recent court decision for October 5th. So the original deadline was October 31st. There was the federal administration reduced the timeline to September 30th. There was a legal challenge. The result is that the census then in turn designated their deadline for October 5th. So we still have about a week left to fill out our census. Compton's response rate is still at about 63.8%. We need as many people to fill out this vital information as possible. It literally takes 5 minutes, and you can go to census.gov for more information. We will also share additional opportunities within the city to fill out your census in person. And in terms of voting, it is critical to check your voter registration status. You can go to lavote.net for more information. In order to be eligible to vote in the November 3rd election, the deadline to register is October 19th. So every election cycle, we remind you all to please ensure that you're registered and able to vote. Voting is our responsibility. It is our opportunity to voice our values and ensure that we're not just a resident, but that we're a constituent. And so it's critical that you vote and make sure that your friends and family are also registered to vote. There are many critical ballot measures, propositions on this upcoming election, as well as our presidential election. I will plan to have a conversation about critical measures that I believe are applicable to Compton and to just justice in general. And then I will also provide you all with some recommendations in other uh, particular seats that many of you all have asked for over the years. We'll be releasing our our election cycle voter guide for your information. And for Compton street reconstruction projects. So we currently have two pathways to repairing streets. One is our CIP 1801, which is Capital Improvement Program 1801, and also a robust grind and overlay program, which also grinds down our pavement and installs a brand new top to our streets and is scheduled to last at least 10 to 15 years. And so with our grind and overlay program, I will bring that up. We are currently doing work or have just completed work. This is our report as of last week to Poplar Street, also Albertson Avenue, Taper Street, Pearl Avenue, Muriel Avenue, Killen Place, and also there's some work happening on stabilization on Long Beach Boulevard. And then there are also speed bumps being installed on 132nd Street and Chester. And so that is our grind and overlay activity for the last couple of weeks. We will also update you on additional projects that are being prepped to move forward as well. And relating to Capital Improvement Program 1801, we are still working with doing curbs and gutters on 134th, Elva, as well as doing some concrete work at Grandee and Caldwell. There are asphalt speed bumps being installed there. There's also work happening on Tejada, extensive work happening on Tejada. And so, scheduled for next week, you can expect to see concrete ramps and gutters installed on Grandee, as well as finishing some of the restoration work on those sidewalks. There will also be asphalt and base work happening on the west side of Tejada. They're currently working on the east side of Tejada now. There will also be work happening on Bradfield, and then there will be additional base work going on Elva as well. So work is still moving forward in the city of Compton. We are scheduled for nonstop street reconstruction through the end of this year. We also are preparing a critical bond package, which is a financing tool to leverage the city's existing revenue streams and to do more projects faster, to curb additional breakdown of our system and increase costs, and allow you all to experience the improvements that you pay for annually with your taxes now, instead of waiting for 20 to 30 years as the needs continue to increase and the costs also increase. So this is a smart way to address the city's infrastructure needs, and we will be bringing you a town hall tomorrow evening, and we will also post information on that. So that will be tomorrow at 5 o'clock p.m. We will have our city manager, Craig Cornwell, and myself prepared to walk you through a detailed presentation about the strategy. Number one, we'll talk about the issues, so get everybody up to date on one page as to the condition of Compton streets, historically what occurred, how did our street system break down. You'll also have information as to the amount of money that has been invested over the last approximately 5 to 7 years. You'll also get a breakdown of all the different revenue streams that we receive on an annual basis, from Prop A, C, Measure M, Measure R, SB1, Measure P, and you'll be able to see how these funds have been used, and then also the opportunity that we have in order to leverage and get a larger pot of funds to do projects faster and deliver those to you at no additional cost to your taxes. So again, no new taxes, but this is a smart way to address our city's needs. And so we will be talking about that in detail. We'll also be polling you all about your priorities as well throughout the presentation. And then we will also, of course, ask live questions and answers at the end of the presentation. This is the first of many virtual town halls that we have scheduled around this issue. We also plan to have another town hall from my office next week, and we'll actually post that graphic for you all as well, so you can mark your calendars and get you additional notice. And then we also record our presentations via Zoom. This is a Zoom being broadcast to Facebook, so we will be able to play back the details of this particular presentation, so that even if you cannot tune in, you can still access the information. And then of course you can always email us your questions and we will address those accordingly. And moving on, I will now prepare to grab any of your live comments that you all may have. As I wait for Candace to prepare those, I will just give you another quick recap of events that occurred. This past Saturday, we had our Compton MBK, their GOTV and Action Summit this past Saturday. And I'd like to just thank MBK Youth Young Adult Leader Jaron Savage, also Dr. Sharani Little, for their continued leadership with Compton MBK. Because of their service, we've been able to offer just incredible once-in-a-lifetime opportunities to Compton young people, and the work continues. And so talked about how do we activate our vote, how do we continue to galvanize support around voting, and what we all can do within our own spheres of influence to ensure that we encourage people to exercise their voice. I don't have to tell you all we're living in some incredible times. We have some extraordinary challenges, and it's really going to take all of us being willing to be active stakeholders to move the needle forward and to get the change that we need. So big thank you to Compton MBK, as well as their youth leadership that was a part of that as well, and all the community leaders that came to be a part of this really critical dialogue. Also, I just want to encourage everyone to please, if you feel like you've missed something, access the City of Compton's website regularly. We do have press releases on various items that are moving forward, and you can find a summary there on the city's website. We are also continuing to share information on our website, as well as through our emails rotating on Channel 36. We have our newsletter that is going out, and we will continue to keep you all plugged in. If you have an update, or if new information becomes available that you'd like to share, please email my office at contactmayor@comptoncity.org. We are happy to amplify the work of our community organizations. Many people wonder, well, how do you share various information over some organizations versus others? And the answer is that organizations that reach out to us or that we're able to connect with, we share their information as they provide it. So we are happy to do the same for all of you that are doing the work on the ground level via a simple email, and we'll be happy to coordinate with you all. And I'm going to see if I can grab any questions. I do not. Oh, here they are. The first question is, can you speak on Compton Unified School District students returning? I will say this. I definitely have been apprised of this particular issue. I know that it is forever changing, and I have reached out to board members in the past on the onset of learning that teachers were going to be required to come back into the classroom. I also spoke with many teachers. Some teachers were in support of going into the classroom, many were not. And I understand that currently there's a push to bring certain students that have special needs, or other students that need additional support back into the classroom. My just message, obviously I do not govern Compton Unified School District, and I'm not completely apprised of all their unique challenges internally that they're dealing with. But I will say that regardless of everything that's happening, we have to make a priority to preserve human life. And with the onset of COVID within our community, and all of us taking all precautions and safety measures, and ensuring that there's adequate testing within the community, and doing all that we can to curb the spread of COVID, I do have a concern about students being back into the classroom, teachers being into the classroom, and especially those that have pre-existing conditions. So my hope is that the district will make accommodations for teachers that do have health concerns, because at the end of the day, we're all human. We all have families, and everyone deserves to be safe and live. And so for those teachers that need to get a medical exemption, I would hope that Compton Unified School District would grant that. For those that prefer to be in the classroom because all of their tools are there, or they feel that it's more accessible for them to teach in that space, we support them as well. But I do hope that the entire focus is truly on the safety of our students and our teachers and all the plant staff and all the team that makes Compton Unified School District go around. And so I know that we are all bracing as a nation, really globally, for this next winter and the second, actually, it will be COVID's second winter and our first within this season. And so there is an expectation that COVID 19 numbers will increase and that we'll have more transmission of the virus. And so I believe it's critical that we put the proper protocols in place that protect our teachers and our students as well. So I will continue to track this item. I also know that the county is making movement on also restoring classroom instruction as well to students throughout the entire LAUSD and broader system. So it is an ever-changing situation, but I'm tracking it and I will continue to outreach to leadership as issues arise or change. And if you all have any questions of me, feel free to contact me, but that's where I am currently on this issue. And I have a conversation about measures can be very beneficial. Thank you. Side note as well, Compton Advocates is also doing an online meeting to begin discussing measures tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And so for those of you that are interested in just getting into the swing of things, it's a great way to tune in. I highly recommend the Compton Advocates. There are so many propositions on the ballot that it will probably take more than one session to really go through all of them in detail, but that's a great way to start and to just hear feedback from your peers about the various measures. And again, I'll be happy to tune in and give you all my feedback as well. How can we get the buckled sidewalks repaired? We are actually repairing sidewalks as we speak. As part of our broader capital improvement program, we do have a citywide sidewalk repair as one of those line items that will be coming before the City Council this month in October for action. So I will keep you posted on the status of actually procuring those funds to do additional citywide sidewalk repairs. Currently, it's just as issues arise, we're able to mitigate them, but there is an actual need for a citywide overhaul and assessment, and so we are working on that. And we also approved the latest iteration of our pavement management study to get us the latest data on conditions in real time to help us make those critical investment decisions. So it's something that is ever changing, but it's something that is being addressed as well as we speak. Someone says, what can be done about all of the RVs parked on McKinley? This is an issue tied to homelessness. We have in the past coordinated with the Sheriff's Department on making sure that we can enforce the city's parking guidelines within this area. We know that it had at one point been a hotbed for RVs to park, and all of the additional secondary impacts of waste and all of the other sanitary issues that arise from that activity did occur, and we were able to move those RVs out of that area. I actually will go by there and see what the latest status is. From this message, I can see that they're back, and so we'll figure out what the mitigation measure will be moving forward. But homelessness is a state issue, it's a county issue. Ultimately, it will be a city issue for all cities within LA County, and it is not a crime to be homeless, but we do need to ensure that we can uphold the health and safety standards of our community. So we will look at this issue. Thank you for your question. Also, when can we bring a new fire station to East Compton? This is a great question, something that has been needed for a very long time. Improvements to our fire stations is also a line item in our bond strategy, which you can access tomorrow. And we can have more dialogue about that. I do know that there is an effort to be able to also apply for additional funding from grant sources as well as FEMA and other entities, mechanisms that can help fund critical infrastructure and safety within our communities. So this will be an ongoing effort, but there is a need for a station on East Compton. For those of you that don't know why, it's pretty simple. It's because the city of Compton is bifurcated by the Blue Line, the Alameda Corridor. If an emergency occurs and these rail lines are blocked off for any reason, it will actually prevent service from fire service from being able to access the east side of the city. So this is really a concern that is definitely noted on the table, and we're working through this. It is a financial challenge, but it's something that is a public safety priority. So at the time when we bring the bond programs forward, please voice your concerns and also help us prioritize on how to use your critical tax dollars. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow and then also next week. Um, Next question is, what is being done to maintain the cleanup done recently on the Alameda corridor? It was recently cleaned, but about an hour of being done, trash was being dumped, and the homeless were trying to set up shelter again. Also, when is the cleanup on the 710 freeway on Rosecrans encampment going to be scheduled as well? This is a really great question, and I'm actually preparing just a simple graphic with a timeline so that you all can see the process of working on cleanups on these railroad right-of-ways that are not city-owned. So for the last several months, and for those of you that tune in weekly to these updates, you know that we have discussed this and the action that's been taken. But we reached out to Union Pacific, whom actually owns the right of way area on the Alameda corridor, to coordinate a cleanup. This is a recurring issue within the city of Compton because the city does not own this land. We actually have to get special permits in order to clean this area. We've had challenges with the rail line being responsive. Only after we threatened, actually, I would say I threatened that we move forward to take legal action did we receive a follow up from the rail line the following day. And so we have dialogue as of last week. I was actually in a team meeting on Friday and Thursday, and Public Works indicated that they were contacted to stop cleanup because of some other issues with Union Pacific. So to make a long story short, this will be an ongoing coordination. We are now pursuing a maintenance agreement so that when maintenance arises, which really is going to be a regular occurrence, the city can actually address this issue and bill the rail line for the cost of abatement. And so we are working, our city attorney, Damon Brown, is working to prepare something forward and bring something forward for implementation. That is, in my opinion, the only way to address this ongoing issue. It's been an issue for many years in Compton. I have documented emails and letters that we've sent to Union Pacific asking them to uphold their responsibility and be a responsible property owner, but they have not upheld this standard, and so we're going to take an additional measure to ensure that we can keep this area clean and safe. Regarding the 710, we actually worked with Caltrans several months ago to address the issues of the homelessness issues, the trash, the lack of maintenance along these freeway entrances that surround Compton. We drove around each freeway entrance and exit, took documentation videos, submitted that to Caltrans. They then decided that they would appropriate some resources to start cleanups. And they actually begun cleaning up this issue that was referenced in the question, which was at Rosecrans entrance on the 710 freeway. And because of a fire and actually some threat of violence extended from one of the homeless individuals there that threatened Caltrans staff, they had to actually stop the cleanup and reschedule and also coordinate with law enforcement to address this encampment. So this is one of those gray areas where the state does provide shelter in this area for homeless individuals, basically preventing serious widespread cleanup of these areas and displacing the homeless. So we have to work around these individuals and also work through our service providers to provide them with alternatives for housing at the same time. So it is a complex issue, but we will continue to work with Caltrans and give you all a new schedule and anticipate when this area will also be serviced once again. But I did want to give you all some more extensive information so you can just understand the efforts that are being taken to address these issues. So thank you all. Those are all the questions that I have. If you've asked a question and we did not see it, we will, as usual, go back through as time permits and answer as many questions as we can. And if not, we will try to grab your questions for next week. Thank you all so much for joining me today. It is an honor to serve as your mayor. Please stay safe, fill out your census, make sure you get tested, and ensure that we are still following social distancing guidelines. Thank you all so much. God bless.